And gentlemen, to the final race of the season in the GT Challenge. We are at the home of British racing. It is, of course, Silverstone, with myself, Lee Smith, and, of course, Aidan Millward, to try and take us through what will be a rainy circuit for the final track. Of course, Ruben will be bringing us all the camera action, the slow-mos, the super slow-mos, and the drifting around the corners. We might get a bit of it today, Aidan, because it's going to be wet. And we're expecting some pretty slippy action.
I mean, it's Silverstone. It's almost the law that it has to be raining. You know, it's actually quite warm outside, but you know, they've set the race to be wet. So Silverstone pretty tricky in low downforce cars at the best of times, but it's going to be a little bit more tricky with a bit of the wet stuff on the track. So I expect a bit of Tokyo drift through corners like turn 1, through Stowe, through Cox. Understeer, oversteer at the same time. Even it's going to be absolutely manic tonight, and what better way to finish the season with some wet weather racing at one of the best racetracks in the world.
Look here, you. I'm going to be pronouncing a hard D if you keep this up. I see you. Millward. I said Millward. I just did a silent D. It is round 6 of 6, ladies and gentlemen. The sprint race, of course, will start things off. 15-minute sprint race and a 45-minute main race. We will, of course, have qualification, which will be kicking off in just a second as the 30 drivers will hit the track. It is the full Silverstone GP, as you can see, and you want to get rid of our faces so we can see what's going on in the background. As you can see, we had a lot of different race winners throughout the sprints and the main races, and it's left the championship in some really interesting spots. Of course, what we're talking about is looking to crown a GT Challenge champion today, but not just the champion. The top 5 will be promoted directly up into the GT Pro, pending penalties. We'll get to that. And of course, from 6th to 10th, will be going into the promotion race, and that's a big deal because obviously that's a chance to get yourself up there. And at the moment, you know, the last race winner, Remco Major, is on the bubble right now, currently in 11th place. And of course, everybody down below, it's not just about going up, there's also people going to be going down, because below GT Challenge there's obviously a bunch of series, and that's where we're seeing, for example, Remco Major, who may actually be able to bounce his way into GT Pro. He came up after the first 2 races. He's only been in the GT Challenge from 4 to 6, these races. So great performance from him. Of course, that's where you can see the blue on the line. These guys have come up from the series below, and what a performance they've put in so far to see where they can get there. As you can see, Matt Richards, the Zancho man, at the top of the table. Currently, Marcel Cinchik, torrid time at Indianapolis, and as I say, we'll get to that. The Vargas Sim Racing team of both 2nd and 3rd. Of course, David Rocek, he was punted off, managed to still get himself some decent points in there at Indianapolis. Margin, he was sent flying. That's why he's managed to pull out. If you're unsure what's going on here, the red signifies the round they've decided to drop. They've dropped that from their points. They're allowed to signify 1 round. Of course, generally, if you have a disconnect, you know, anything, these things can happen in a series, certainly in online racing, which is why obviously we've done that. And as you can see, you know, down to 10th, it is close, Aidan. It is close. Look at that. Remco Major, 505. Jakubovic, 500. Even down to Ardianza, 491. Nick Jacobs, 489. All of these guys have got a real big chance of making it today.
Yeah, Remco Major, like you say, he came from Split 2. He's on the cusp of going into the playoff rounds to go into Split 1. I think he could actually end up, if he does make it, be the lowest driver to make it promotion-wise to GT Pro, and it would really show the ladder system that the series has got in place. And yeah, the drop rounds, basically just the worst round of your season will get dropped. Just so happened that Marcel Cinchik, who basically occupies a substantial portion of the penalties, penalty board, the penalty tables, the penalty information system, I guess we can call it. He's on super double heavy probation today because of that.
6 penalties.
Yeah, so if he doesn't basically drive like a saint tonight, it could affect him going up into GT Pro.
I mean, the biggest part is obviously there's time penalties in there, which we're aware of, but there's 2 big infractions as well, which is where things need to be looked at. Of course, the ones earlier on, he didn't have anything for it. Also, Presley Martinez, Sekowski, obviously we were talking about Sekowski almost in there, so big deal for him. Cedar Vire also, we should mention, obviously had that collision with Christian Mikel. Christian Mikel actually in 10th place on the overall table as well, was obviously including that collision. That's where they were basically stuck together and ended up, I think it was Christian Mikel ended up spiraling out, didn't he, afterwards. So it was definitely an action-packed Indianapolis. There's no doubt about it, as you can see. Marcel Chinchik, who was the championship leader going into that race, had a bit of an issue. Needs to check himself today and, as you say, drive like a saint, because if he is to go up to GT Pro, he needs to make sure he drives a pristine race today, because he's very much on the edge. We wouldn't like to see that. He's obviously been a big part of it throughout the season. Not only this, obviously the BMW CMM2 Cup as well, CS Cups. So he's done very well throughout that. So definitely a staple diet on the rFactor 2 circuits. It would be nice to see what he can do up in the GT Pro, because clearly he has been a strong contender here in the GT Challenge. So moving forward, qualifications. It is all about Silverstone, and of course it is the track that we had to put off. It's got to be a month and a half ago now, I would say 6 weeks ago, something like that. It was due to be round 4, I believe, round 3 or 4, some time back, but there was issues on the day, which is why we obviously moved it towards the end of the season. I'm glad we moved it. It would have been a shame to certainly have cancelled the race and obviously miss out on the home of British racing, which could certainly be a fantastic spectacle, especially in the rain. And speaking of rain, that's why we're seeing the times a little outside. So 2:04s at the moment, obviously. In the dry, you'd probably be looking at 1:57s or around that area. Maybe even a little quicker from some of these guys, who knows. But 2:04s at the moment with 8.5 minutes to go.
Yeah, just 8.5 minutes to go. As we see Juan Carlos Fernandez coming through Stowe. It's one of the two corners on the track where you can really pick up the track limit excursions, because if you go off the track, you're deemed to have gained an advantage, and it's all done in rFactor 2, and a certain amount of cuts, and then we'll be heading down the pit lane to serve a penalty. So Juan Carlos Fernandez coming across the line right now. He's up on his personal best, and that's going to stick him up into 20th. And then trying to get through turn 1 without losing too much grip. Matt Richards, championship leader, coming down the hanger straight. On his outlap this is, and you can see the raindrops on the car, looking really nice, and then just gets on the brakes and trying to find the grip into Stowe before going out on his fast lap.
So let's see what they can do. Can you cast your mind back? How was this race, and what sort of car won in Silverstone, the GT Pro? Because obviously, we're going through all the classes. What's the strong one here? Obviously, I know the Bentleys can certainly perform, and it was very interesting. Obviously, when you think of Indianapolis, we had a train of 6, 7 Bentleys, I think, at one point, preceded by, I think, about 4 McLarens.
I shall find out for you. I've got the GT Pro standings here. Who actually won Silverstone? Andonovsky in the Audi won. No, he didn't. Kasper Stolzer won the feature race in a Corvette, I believe. So, but they had the draft system, so all their cars were messed about with ballast and things like that. Whereas these guys were allowed to run whatever car they pick. But Richards there with the upper hand as of just under 7 minutes remaining. He's got 2/10 to Christian Mikel for Nita Velox in second, Darren Moshek in the Audi in third. So got a few cars, a few different manufacturers in that top 10. So we'll just have to see what happens, because we haven't had a wet race this season yet.
Well, we will see how this works out. As I mentioned, obviously it is all about that top 10. Places will matter. And of course, all know by now, the sprint race will be deciding the top 10 switch for the main race. Then we will have a reversal, so if 10th place will start out on pole position when we move to that main race. But of course, right now it's all about getting those positional places for the sprint race. And there is a lot of points up for grabs tonight, of course. Don't forget, they'll all be looking towards those races. And 35 points as the winner in the main race, 20 points as the winner in the sprint race. So, 55 points. We have seen a couple of drivers do it, and that would be really the crowning way to get yourself in there and really set your marker effectively going into the GT Pro. We'll see whether Matt Richards can do it at the moment as he's looking to hold on to that pole position. 5 minutes to go. Christian Mikel, Rochex, Diogo Silva, all these drivers are in and around that 10th place margin. Capimagin as well, Cito Vaya, it's actually a strong qualification from him, who's struggled throughout qualifications. Speaking of struggling through qualification, what is going on with Yuri Tolman? He is normally always up and about there. Marcel Shinchik down in 23rd at the moment. The Varga Sim Racing guys are struggling, it seems, on Silverstone, when they've just not posted a real set time yet.
Yeah, Ahmed Abdallah just getting a bit of drift on coming out of club corner as he heads towards the line. He's down on his personal best on that particular run. Still in the top 10, though, so he's doing okay for himself. Here's Philip Dreiss. Again, he's 1.3 seconds off Richards' time and 2.4 off Richards' time. So it's a big gap there going on. Or is that to a personal best? So I'm not reading things properly, but yeah, it seems like McLaren's, Audi's, Bentley's not doing too well at the minute. It looks like the Boatley is ironically struggling with the wet weather here.
Well, Lewis is giving us all the information. That's what it's good to see. I see him in chat. I see you there, Lewis, keeping your eyes in the plate. I know the Bentleys can generally perform well here, but Michi Hoyer in the wet in the Audi. So I'm trying to think which Audi drivers we have. We don't actually have that many. We have a lot of McLarens, a lot of Bentleys that have all been up and running around there. Between the 650s and the 720s and the McLarens, obviously I think it's the Varga guys were both in 650s, if memory serves.
Varga got 650, Sancho got 720.
Yeah. Oh, okay, so pulling out there. We were talking about cutting, actually. Speaking of, because Donald Prodan did take a rather large slice. We were talking about cutting areas that you can maybe be a little bit more lenient with. Perhaps in Cops and Stowe. We'll see and keep our eye on that, because obviously Maggots and Beckett's is obviously going through there on the exit of Chapel. Everybody kind of tries to straighten it out as much as you can, but it can kind of kick your ass. We'll see whether this is going to work for Pedro Gomez as he tries to use as much track as he can as he comes out of Aintree there down the Wellington Straight. So looking good for him so far. We'll see, though. Oh, actually, that's a bad first sector. 2 seconds off the pace. We will see this, I feel, especially when it's wet. We're going to see some pretty large margins in the times, as opposed to often we'd see like a second separating the top 20.
Yeah, I think it's probably the biggest gaps we've seen all season. Usually everybody's very, very close. So that's Diogo Silva. He's currently in 4th. His best lap is 3.5 tenths off Matt Richards, unless the track has got too wet. I don't know what the starting.
It does seem that way, doesn't it? Yeah, it does seem that. Everybody's yellow at the moment by a long margin, by like 2 seconds. It seems like it's definitely, if they didn't get the times out early on, it's going to catch those late joiners off guard.
So those who got the early laps in have really benefited here. If that is the case. We'll try and find out what the wetness situation is from Ruben or even Jimmy Allison, the man keeping a close eye on proceedings.
Actually, speaking of Audi, isn't Christian Mikel in an Audi? I'm pretty sure he is. Rochek's definitely a Bentley. Diogo Silva might be an Audi as well. I believe he is, that orange wagon. Obviously, Gish is in McLaren. Capimagin, I feel, is in Audi. Paul Augustlana. Capamagin's a Bentley, is he these days? Okay.
Unless that's Fernando.
I'm pretty sure he's in.
We are useless at our jobs.
I'm pretty sure he's in an Audi. I'm like, I don't remember that red car being a Bentley, but I'm pretty sure it is. Paul Augustlana, this is definitely the best qualification for him.
Mikel definitely in an Audi. There he is.
Yeah. I was going to say, I'm pretty sure he's in an Audi. So as Lewis has wisely pointed out, the Audis do seem to be doing well. There's quite a few of them in that top 10, and as we were talking about, even looking at Christian Mikel's time, it's like he's 2 seconds off his own effective marker there. Obviously, Matt Richards is the time to beat, but it does seem that the track is actually torrential rain. Not quite to the levels of the Nürburgring 24 and Spa at the weekend, where it was, well, I think it was like 50 inches or something crazy like that at Spa, wasn't it?
Au Maron more than Eau Rouge. It was, hopefully they'll get to the source of their drainage problems.
They fixed it already, from what at least that's what I gathered by listening to the Nürburgring 24. They were talking about it, and they were saying that they'd actually fixed it by that night time. They'd even resurfaced it and everything. It was all done and dusted. So, got to get that money right. Got to keep that track open. So they quickly fixed it. And I guess when your track's at this stage, you kind of got your own people that can do it.
Doing warm up now. They might as well just use it as an extended.
Yeah, it seems that way.
Going that slowly.
Yeah, there's definitely nothing going to happen. He's not going to get over the line in time either way. So there we have it. Not too many out there doing laps. He actually did get over the line, did he? Did he? He must have.
He was on an out lap, so it wouldn't have mattered anyway.
So Lana's actually in the Callaway. So it's been, I think he's one of the few that are running it. Obviously, with previous seasons, there was about 23 Callaways out there. But even that looked a little slippy on the edge, didn't it? Yeah, that's a little slidey, that is. 2.4 again. Well. 2.4, so clearly, the track is far, far too wet to set times, which, I've got to be honest, Aidan, that has made the timings and the qualifications very interesting. Obviously, fantastic for Matt Richards right now, who is currently leading the championships and sitting on pole position, got his car out early, it would appear. Whether there's something that he knew, I don't know, but either way, Vargas Sim Racing are a long way down. Bearing in mind, Yuri Toman's second. Obviously, Chinchik is second and third. They both are in the championship. This is looking great for Matt Richards.
I think we should probably take these qualification times with a pinch of salt. How, like in with Formula One, it's like, it's free practice one, and there's a car that's second and a half off the pace, but then they come back for qualifying. I think some of these drivers have gone out when the track is wetter, as Jimmy Allison has confirmed that the track is getting more wet, but it started raining when they moved into qualifying, so this has accumulated over the course of the session. So the grid might get a lot closer when we actually get racing, but for Yuri Toman and also for Marcel Chinchik, who I'm not actually seeing on the timing sheet currently, but expect people just try and start making moves on the first lap, probably into Brooklands or even into turn 3, where we can expect a carnage fest if someone misjudges it on the wet track.
Well, I've got to make sure you don't hit any fancy buttons for your brakes as well. Got to stay in the meta for that one. There we go. But yes, we're talking about exits. Here we go. Remco Major, as you can tell, it's going to be a long time off his personal best. So Jukovic also way down. That's a big problem. Some of these guys all challenging for that top 10. He was 12th currently in terms of points on 500 points and seats himself in 22nd. I can certainly see a case for, say, Yuri Toman maybe getting into that top 10 and perhaps getting towards the front of the grid for the main race. But Marcel Chinchik, for example, who is effectively on probation, is going to look at, wow, Jukovic, was that just sliding? Was that how wet it got there? Because he was just sliding off the circuit there.
Just understeering off the track now. And, well, that's because of the session moving on rather than he's actually understeering. But just for reference, Marcel Chinchik is down in 23rd position, so he's really got it all to do, and especially turn 1, he's going to have to be a very, very good boy.
Yes, we're going to have to see some very, very tight racing, I feel, here. And, well, when it's in the wet here at Silverstone, it can sometimes get a wee bit slippy, especially when they're sliding around, trying to thread the needle through Maggots, Beckett's and Out Chapel, seeing if they can keep it going hard on the brakes into Vale. I can certainly see some issues possibly coming up there, and I'm just trying to think of any other positions. Obviously, the Village may be out breaking themselves up at the Village as well. So it's definitely going to be a tough old track for the drivers to get their brains engaged. We're going to, of course, have the warm-up as they sort themselves out on their fuel for the 15-minute race here, which I'm just trying to calculate how many laps we're going to get in that, because it's going to be 2 minutes a lap, right? So we're looking at around about 7, maybe 8. We'll see at which stage Matt Richards can maybe get away and whether it can go, because they were lapping at 204s, so probably fully fueled we're probably looking at 205, 206s maybe to start things off.
Yeah, we'll have to see what happens with the weather. It looks like it's going to carry over in its current state to warm up and the race. So, yeah, we're going to see quite slow lap times. And if it stops, the track might dry out a tiny bit. But in a 15-minute race, yeah, you're going to be really clutching at straws for that. But there's your little track map. It shows you the route the drivers will be taking. 15 minutes, of course, to start off, and then the 45-minute feature race. No pit stops unless you get clobbered or you get a drive-through, but you should get some interesting racing to finish off what's been a brilliant season.
I always get confused by that image because it's kind of like upside down from what I'm used to, the Silverstone circuit grid layout. So I was just looking at the bottom, I was like, hey, what's that? Oh, it's Maggots Beckett. I was like, oh, it's the other way around. That's what I'm used to seeing, as the flip side. We've talked about this before. We had the same thing in Indianapolis. That was like on its side, wasn't it? Was it? No, it was Sebring. It was Sebring that was on its side, if I'm not mistaken. So, yes, very interesting. Okay, so we can't read too much into qualification times. Obviously, it is all about who got out there quickest, but you know what? That sometimes is racing. It happens across all the sports. Formula One have had that happen many, many times with some interesting starts. It does just so happen that the championship leader is on pole position. So it's looking great for Matt Richards. He's just going to have to take his time and try and pace himself, if anything. Marcel Shinchik, obviously, currently second in the championship, currently down in 22nd. Brezzi Martono, actually, we didn't mention him. He was definitely up there. He's currently third in the championship, just 17 points behind Matt Richards. So he's going to have a big performance here to topple Matt Richards if he were to try and get that championship. Of course, currently in a great standing for the top 5 qualification. Just to remind you guys, the top 5 will be automatically promoted up into GT Pro Series, obviously, and then there will be the 6th place down to 10th in the championship points. Will then go into a promotion/relegation battle. 10 drivers in total, obviously the 5 coming from GT Pro alongside the 5 from there. Now, that could be interesting because, well, there's going to be some interesting drivers in there because obviously it's been a wild and wonderful season in GT Pro Series Season 3, so definitely going to be some interesting action to see how that plays out. That will be in, not sure if it's a week or 2 weeks, the relegation that will play out. So we'll be interested to see how that works out. And of course, down the bottom of the grid, the points margin. We should also point out that obviously we'll be losing a number of drivers down to the other guys. And I'm just trying to think of what drivers we have, actually. It's going to be from the GT Pro, it'll be 21st to 26th, is it? I'm not too sure if it, or is it 26th and 30th? Let's have a quick look. It may even be right in front of me. It's right in front of me. There we go. Read the screen, Lee. That's what you got to do. It is 21st to 25th. So let's just list those drivers. Risto Capit, Lorenzo Arisi, Ibrahim Khan, Polesny's in there, and Terzic. So some tough competition, it's safe to say, in the promotion relegation. So that is going to be a tough one for everyone involved. And very interested to see the drivers dropping out of GT Pro. Currently, this is going by the points. I mean, it may change. This is subject to change. But at the moment, I'm seeing Peter Briliak in there, Jimmy Nisula, Tuukka Häkkinen, who did just get promoted, obviously, last season. But the big names, obviously, at the bottom is Erhan Yudovsky and Hani Al-Sapti, that are both going to be going down to GT Challenge next season. That's massive, Aiden.
Yeah, it's huge. Erhan Yudovsky, pretty much pound for pound the best driver in rFactor 2, getting demoted, but that's the way the draft system went. I'm sure there'll be revisions to the draft system for next year to try and make it a bit more favourable to certain drivers, you could probably say. But you know, that's just how it went, and I'm sure if Erhan Yudovsky does do next season, he'll be straight back up because he's Erhan Yudovsky and he's rapid.
Indeed he is. Obviously we saw it, and congratulations to Jan van der Heide, by the way, obviously the winner of the GT Pro Season 3. But here in the GT Challenge, we're still waiting to crown our champion at the moment. Oh, Matt Richards is looking good for it, where Marcel Shinchik, his nearest competitor, just 7 points between the two. Qualifying down in 22nd as opposed to pole position for Matt Richards. That's going to cause a serious problem, and it seems at the moment we have a serious problem because we're waiting for the warm-up to get going and the race to kick things off. There does appear to be a delay, though, Aiden.
Yeah, it's trying to get everything set up so we have a great race to show you. But I'm sure Jimmy Allison's working feverishly behind the screens. Well, he's behind the screens and behind the scenes to get that going. Hopefully, we will get a race because we don't want to delay this anymore. We're getting ready to go for the final round, and just to get going. And apparently, Jimmy says we're on the formation lap, so I think it's more. I'm actually quite confused. It's a Ruben.
It's a Ruben-ish. Here we go. I had full faith
Ruben was like delaying it right to the last minute. So Matt Richards, your pole man in the McLaren, followed by Christian Mikel, Cetro's Nita Velox. Probably bragging rights there as well. You know, Zancho, Nita Velox have a bit of a friendly rivalry going on, and then down to 5th with Daniel Kish, the Hungarian, in the 720. Lewis Philippe Capamajan in the Audi. For HM Engineering, Paul Auguslana in the Callaway for Volante. Cito Via, the Frisian, in 8th. Philip Dreiss for NeedRacing.com. He's in 9th, and Ahmed Abdallah. Great qualifying session for him. He's in 10th. Thomas Bach in 11th, and Yuri Toman will have it all to do from 12th. Guillermo Mas in 13th. Donat Prodan for Volante in 14th. Pedro Crilas Gomez for Gomez in 15th. Remco Major, he'll also be trying to get through the field. He's in 16th in his Bentley. Daniel Stepkowski for RSR in 17th. Andy Kurtz in 18th for Dis Sim Racing Lab. Nick Jacobs should be able to make some positions from there in 19th. Juan Carlos Fernandez down there in 20th. Martin Dillon, that's a poor qualifying session for him. Maybe went out a bit too late for Jean Lazy Esports in 21st. Roman Kubic for Blackhawk in 22nd. Marcel Chinchik did go out way too late and will start down there in 23rd. Jan Kershim, 25th for Virtual Drivers by TX3. And then it's Bentleys and the last of the Audis, Nico Barkley in 27th. He's a driver that should be a bit further up than that. And then David Yunt in the Scuderia Basilia Bentley, bringing up the rear for the 29-strong field.
Aiden, Presley Martono was down in, 27th there? He is 3rd in the championship. Marcel Chinchik, 23rd, 2nd in the championship. This is going to be a lively race. There is going to be a lot of overtaking from the back to the front, all the way through. Matt Richards, of course, the man at the front of the grid. Look at the visibility from Cito Via. This could be a very tricky start for some of these drivers. They're going to have to be hot on their brakes as they go down. Is this the Wellington or the Hangar? I'm just trying to tell. That's Hangar, isn't it? I was going to say, I'm seeing the crowd on the left is the giveaway. There's not a crowd on the left on the Wellington, but yeah, a lot of spray as they do come around and get ready to start things off. So
wipers working overdrive as well. Look at that.
That is a lot of spray. That is a lot of standing rain. This is going to get. It's going to be a tricky start, no doubt.
I would not want to be on the outside for turn 1. Not in these conditions, but Matt Richards will have to get the best launch that he can. When's he going to go?
Well, they are queuing themselves up as they go down the main straight. I tell you what, they're going to be taking over him in a minute. Going to get things underway, but here we go. Oh, there was a track car going straight off there right from the start. There's cars going off on the corner, but Matt Richards through. Oh no, that is a disaster. I could see about 3 or 4 cars sideways there. That has been a. Is that going to be it? That was a. There's a lot of yellows, let's put it that way. Is that even going to be a restart? I don't even know. It's just a disaster because you see, well, it doesn't matter because Matt Richards, Christian Mikel, Rocek in there as well. Capamagian up to 4th already. Cito Via managing to hang on to 5th there. I think Daniel Kish was one of the cars I could see certainly stuck behind them all. There is a lot of cars gone sideways, but look at this. Chinchik already up into 15th place. So a great start from him, benefiting from the what can only be described as a bit of a pile-up at the start. But look how slow they're having to go here.
Yeah, there's tippy-toeing around at the minute. I'm sure Ruben is queuing up a very artistic super slow-mo of the carnage that happened as we now have yellows in Sector 2. We're seeing Shinchik's up to 15th, so he's managed to clear a bit of that carnage at the start. But Matt Richards going through cops for the first time nicely on the black and white curbing that they have here at Silva, so you can keep 2 wheels on that. You should be okay. Don't see anybody going off in the background as they come up to Maggots and Beckers, but now here is the replay
of
what we want to see. So this is Juan Carlos Fernandez
He's the first one to go off.
Can't see a thing right here. Oh, he's been tipped round by...
That's Martin Durland?
Yeah, by Durland. So I think that might have just been... Oh,
I mean, he turned across to him. Yeah, he turned across him.
That's on Juan Carlos, I'm afraid. Just one of those things that happens at the start of a race. I've just seen Twitch catch up with that and just got another view of that. So yeah, it's I think he's done that to himself, but it happens. And we rejoin the action as they come through Stowe. Matt Richards again leading. You can see the Audi has fallen back a tiny bit. The gap nearly a second to the Intervelix driver. David Mrocek hanging strong there in third. Captain Marjan via Augustlana, Toman, Abdallah, Cross, Gomez and Stepkovsky round out the top 10 as we see another replay.
He's got nowhere to go.
Martin Dearland, yeah. Can't blame him for that one.
No, unless he... Oh, this is where... Okay, so that was someone on the right there. Okay, that's Remco Major on the left. Oh, that was Diogo Silva that was caught up in that as well. Obviously, he's in a battle along with Remco, all looking for that top 10 finish. So there's a couple of drivers that are caught up in that are all looking for the points right now. This has been a bit of a disaster for some of those. Yuri Toman has benefited from it. He's up into 7th place. Jakovic also up into 13th. Jacobs up into 12th as well. So some of these drivers really benefiting. Shinchik's had a bit of an off because he was in 15th. He's now down in 21st. So there's been something happen there with the Vargas Sim Racing driver. Remco Major also down into 24th. The Kish also down into 27th. So clearly picked up some damage. And then the second spin, Kurjan down there. Diogo Silva did see he was caught up in it along with Philip Dries, so they're all in the pits right now.
Diogo Silva apparently punted his own teammate, so
Martono?
Sorry, he got punted by his teammate, I should say, Diogo Silva. So that's how he's ended up in the pit lane, probably missing a rear wing. We'll probably try and grab a replay of that one if Ruben has an R key left at this point. Oh, he does. Okay, let's have a look at what happened here. Philip Dries outside of Abbey Corner. Yeet.
Oh, okay, yeah. I mean, that's Diogo Silva that's sideways, that they're all just going into, And then, then Dries gets smashed from left to right, and he catches. That's where Remco Major goes off. So that's going to hurt him because obviously he was in 11th in terms of points at the moment. So really a bad off for him. Nothing he could do about that, it seems.
Yeah, I think the Who wrote a song about that, the Pinball Wizard. So it's just the stuff that happens in a wet race as Philip Dries leaves the pit lane in 28th position. Almost overcooked it, dropping the pit lane to it. So it's a weird pit lane exit where the pit line is. You're sort of turning when you drop it, so if you have too much power on, you can lose the rear end. But still, your top 5 is still Richards, Mikel Mrocek, Captain Marjan and Via with 10.5 minutes left on the clock. So, as they come across the line, it is Matt Richards, the current leader, and setting the best time. And look at that. Looks like how far they're having to be. 2:12. And it was 2:04 qualifying when it was semi-dry. It was still wet back then, but that's just how torrential rain it is at the moment. You can see the wipers going 10 to the dozen, just how twitchy the back end is as they go around the loop. There's Kapamajan's Audi in front with Rocek just ahead of him, looking from Cito Via's position right now as he chases down. It is still very close between these, but there is a nice healthy gap for the front two. Christian Mikel, of course, chasing down those points. And let's not forget about Matt Richards. He would love to get himself the top 20, first 20 points here to try and secure that championship. So Zancho driver really has stepped things up in the last 2 races at Sebring, getting himself a 3rd place in the sprint race, 1st place in the main race, then 1st place at Indianapolis sprint race, and I believe it was a 3rd or 4th. I think it was 4th place in Indianapolis overall. So fantastic performance from him so far, and really stepping it up at the end of the season. Yeah, just double checking that. Do we have the results on the channel? There it is. He was... Okay, that one hasn't been updated. That one's a bit odd. Yeah, it was it was sort of high position-ish with the coming together that you had with Chinchik at the sort of snake pit section. But you can see Cito Via is keeping with the back end of Kapamajan. I don't think the slipstream is going to be big enough down the hanger straight to potentially try anything into Stowe here.
Now, what we're seeing him having a little look, doesn't want to outbrake it. Certainly not close enough at the moment. Kapamajan in that Audi certainly putting a better performance in. He had a bit of a nightmare in fairness, at Indianapolis. It wasn't a track for, well, a lot of drivers, in fairness. Had a few problems there, but Capomagin certainly had a bit of a disaster there. And didn't get any points in the sprint race. It was a big DNF for him there. Further down the field, I'm just trying to see. I mean, obviously, we were talking about Abdallah's great qualifying because obviously managed to get himself in there. He's still sitting down in that 9th place, and obviously Stekovski in 10th. That is looking great for him at the moment to try and chase, because we should mention, with so many cars completely out of position right now, I'm talking about Chinchik and Martono, even Martin Doolan we're going to throw in there, that we're all looking to chase down. Oh, that's a wide run, and that's going to be an open door. Is he going to try and take it? Certainly going to get alongside here. Cito Vire looking great for him. He's going to have the inside line as they try and drag each other, as it were. Capomagin, Paul August Lana. Oh, he's just up behind him. That's a really wide run from Capomagin as he manages to just pull it back. But Paul August Lana, looking at this, has got to be Cito Vire. He will give up the position as he comes in to the corner. And now they're going to have to slow things down. It's tippy toes. Tippy throws through. This is Luffield. Is this Luffield? This is Luffield and Woodcut. Yeah, it is. It's tippy toes through there.
Yeah, but Luffield corner is pretty tricky and takes forever to get through at the best of times. But Cito Vire managing to get past Capomagin. I'd like to see another replay of that little bit was it Biffin and Bargin coming onto the Wellington Straight. Let's see why Capomagin went super wide coming out of Aintree corner. But they both survived, which is the main thing. So it'll be interesting to see what happens in the aftermath of this race when all is said and done.
Well, it just looked like they were simply side-by-side racing, and obviously when you're flat on the power coming out of Aintree, aren't you? So here we go. Let's get a replay of it and see exactly what happens. Cito Vire. Yeah. It's just off the racing line, and just away he went.
All right, so no contact there. I thought there was. It's just the way that we went to that three split thing that's really cool.
It's interesting because in the wet, you can often get better grip off the racing line. It depends how much standing water is there, right? Yeah, because obviously, I don't know whether you would yet, because we were only 10 minutes into the race, so there's probably not that much rubber out there, right? That's you're obviously picking up the whole rubber balls. That's the kind of the point of it, right?
Yeah, I don't know how it works. I'm sure
that's the science of
it. A real world driver can. If Dan Kell's in chat, he could probably explain it. He's been doing a lot of driving lately. But still a 1.1 second lead. So that gap comfortable for Richards as yellow comes out in Sector 3. It's Chinchik, just to point out, won't score any points for this race. He'll get his participation points, but he won't get any actual points for the race. So that's going to be a big blow to his championship charge.
Yeah, championship charge. I think he's still safe in sort of the promotion sort of aspects. And looking down, obviously from 6th upwards is Capomagin, who's looking to try and chase in. Rocek up there, that's great for him. Obviously, same with Christian Mikel. These guys are looking good, especially Christian Mikel. He was 9th in terms of championship points. Diogo Silva was 10th. It's a problem for him, but the problem is the chasing drivers was Remco Major, who's also way down in 23rd. Jakovic, now it's a great performance for him. He's currently 11th. If he can get into that 10th spot, which you can see is very close to right now, obviously would be starting not only on pole position in the main race, but that's going to give him a real slice of a chance. Now, in terms of points that he's got to chase, he's only 6 points off Diogo Silva, so certainly looking like it's going to be a big mix-up in terms of positions for not only the top 5, but obviously the 6th to 10th position. That was a little twitchy there from Christian Mikel as he follows Matt Richards. That certainly looked a little slicey, and that just shows, even... let's just think of Sebring, right? Obviously, we saw it in Martin Durland. An unforced error, it can happen. Still 4.5 minutes left. You've got to keep that focus right now in the wet.
Seems like if you're pushing, you start overdriving the car, you lose speed, you slide, you overcook your tyres, it all adds up. So you just need to stay calm and just stay in a rhythm. And, it's like the Grand Prix at the weekends, like, it all kicked off with 5 laps remaining, so anything can happen. So you might as well stay comfortable and just hope that you can pick up some scraps near the end. And that's better than obviously going off at turn 1 and losing a chunk of points.
I have to get my Casio calculator out at this rate, I think. Let's try to figure these points out. I'm trying to look at who is in with a real chance at like leapfrogging in terms of points because of how things are in the championships. But we'll keep our eye on just how this is working out. Paul August Lana, I was just thinking, but I don't think he's got really too much of a chance. No, he doesn't. He's way down in 27th. Yuri Toman obviously definitely in with a big chance of getting up there. As I say that, Toman just lost a position to Carreras Gomez. So he just dropped down to 8th. So just overtaken by Carlos Gomez there in 7th position. Just watching the timing, certainly. So let's see exactly what happened there. Did he run wide? No, this is David Kish. Daniel Kish. So he is... Oh, that's just a tap. And yeah.
Yeah, poor plug. I've just seen that Chinchik's dropped back down to 19th. Mas got past him, but so he's not having a fun time out there. And his teammate Yuri Time is still in 8th, so there is a sliver of hope for an overall championship win for Varga, but it's going to be a hard ask going into the final race of the season. Although Toman, if he stays where he is, will start 3rd for the reverse grid. Richards will have to come back through the field, but still Varga should still be safely in the
he's just took it back.
First couple of first promotion automatic thing. You know what I mean?
He's just took Gomez back, so they've just traded positions once again. So the two McLarens. Toman did lose the position to Gomez a moment ago. And hello, Gomez is having another bite back here, but I don't think he's quite got the exit there. I was going to say don't fire him off. It's going to be a simple drag race. And looking at the tow, that's Paul August Lana ahead of them. That Corvette certainly will be given a pretty sizable tow, but... looks like Gomez is just going to have to try and play this one nicely. Let's have a look at the replay of it. So this is Gomez getting past Toman to begin with. Just simply sweeping through there. Nicely done.
That was a good send. A little bit of contact as he tried to cover off into, or either cover off into the tight left hand, or if he was trying another dive bomb, but still a bit of argy-bargy, which we've come to expect in the series now, as I think it was Gomez just going wide on the exit of the final corner. That's also a track cut zone. Yuri Toman back into 7th, and that will give him 4th in the reverse grid polars. This will be
nice
the retake.
Yep.
So it's just bad exit of Cops. Toman had the momentum, had the speed. Easy as you like.
Cops is such a tricky corner. You carry too much speed into it, it can really bite you sometimes. It's one of those corners you want to go fast on, but sometimes the car just won't let you. And that's what it seemed like there. Gomez under a little bit of pressure. Speaking of pressure, Jakovic. Thomas Vach on his backside at the moment. Jakovic really would love to get into Stakowski and try and get into that pole position start effectively.
Oh, August Lana's dropping.
Roman Jakovic. Oh, hello. So Lana's. Oh, whoa! That's disaster. That's Jakovic. Actually, he did just get straightened up kindly because that could have been a nightmare for him, but he did manage to get himself straightened back up. And Jakovic is through tonight. I was just about to mention 12th currently in terms of points. Has to get himself back in there. What happened there? Paul August Lana. That's Kapamajian. So where did he go? Ended up going down to 9th place after all of that. And Jakovic may get him.
Lana went off at Brooklands. He was in the grass, and he's come back across, and that's just caused the pile-up. So Ruben mashing that Arky to try and find out what happened before he says, oh, bye.
Oh, no. There he goes. That's Jakovic having to go in the runoff.
Kick of oversteer there. Just speared him off. He's rejoined. Thankfully, there's a bit of tarmac there. So, yeah, tarmac runoff is good for something.
Actually, I think that was Nico Barkley. I think it just went off there, wasn't it? Yeah, I think it's Nico Barkley ahead. Judging by obviously the board, I can't tell a thing with the amount of spray there. I'm pretty sure that's Nico Barkley's car. Great drive from him, by the way, up into 10th place. Someone's just gone wide there at Stowe. I can't tell who that is. It's Paul August Lana that went wide. I just looked at the replay, but yeah, this is looking from Jakob's position. Oh my word, he managed to squeeze his way through about 3 cars there. Nicely done, real nice overtake. And Ruben just showing a little bit of favoritism because a fantastic overtake there, though, no doubt about it. But talking about Paul August Lana, he's gone way down to 10th now. As I saw him going wide at Stowe back there, and yeah, he's been having problems. Yeah, I mean, okay, we knew it'd be lively in the rain. So, Matt Richards, buying away the leader. In fact, Matt Richards and Christian Mikel completely running away with it. A 10-second plus gap there was between them and Damon Roček.
It hasn't finished. I think that's
not quite
glitch
yet.
Glitch in the matrix, as they still appear to be driving at full speed and overtaking each other. So sorry about that. That caught me off guard in all the commotion. But here's Kappa Majan, who's actually lost the place. He did lose that place to Cito Vai. That's again my apologies. Our brains have been fried from what's been going on. But now on the back of Derek Roček, who's taken a super wide line through Brooklands. Sorry, Lovefield. And then Kappa Majan's like, all right, I'll have that. Bye.
Well, okay, gets 2 for 1. We're assuming it is still going as you were looking at the replay. Okay, let's have a peek. This is Paul Lana going, oh yeah, just completely losing the rear end. He's obviously took damage somewhere along the line because he's been having a nightmare for the last 2 or 3 laps. I don't know whether maybe it's damage, maybe it's just losing traction. Look at that. That's just simply trying to make avoiding action there, and they're all at it. I mean, all completely locking up in the rain. I mean, it's oh Jesus, there we go. I was going to say they're sliding everywhere, but the lag kicking in there as well.
That was the end of the race. Okay.
It was the end of the race. Yeah.
Okay,
so Kappa Majan did indeed get 5th place. Okay, so I was like, I'm sure the race is over. I don't want to say anything, but okay. Matt Richards 1st place, Christian Mikel 2nd, Damon Roček and the Burst Esports 3rd. Cito Vai, great performance from him, ends up in 4th place. Kappa Majan as well in 5th. Great for his championship challenge. Yuri Toman 6th place. Pedro Gomez, what a performance, up into 7th place. Jakovic as well, gaining ground. Real great for his championship hopes here because he's currently sitting in 12th in the championship. He may well be into that top 10 and almost certainly is now. Nico Barkley as well, 9th place for him. Great performance. Paul Lana into the top 10 despite that Callaway Corvette desperately trying to escape him.
Yeah, so that screen, just flip everything the other way around, and that'll be your grid for race 2. As we see Richards coming onto the Sir Lewis Hamilton straight for the final time in the race to take race victory for another sprint race. And that's going to make the Welshman very, very happy.
Absolutely, and let's just remind you of the points. In fact, we're going to have a look. Okay, we're just going to have a look at how wet the damn track is right now. Lots of standing water. So we're going to set ourselves up for the 45-minute rain race here. So, take what you just saw, stick in another 30 minutes of fuel, and just see how these cars handle then. I think we were looking at 212s, weren't we? Just to show how far off the pace that is right now. The 204 qualifying in the wet, which semi-wet, generally looking at sub 2 minutes, aren't you? In a dry condition, you're looking at like 157s. So yeah, the track is torrential right now. It's beyond rain. It should be. It should say Spa. It should be the weather right now. Spa weekend, because it is pretty bad out there. We'll see, of course. 45-minute race. Maybe things will dry out, and maybe we'll start to see dry line perform itself. But the main thing is that Matt Richards is going to be starting in 10th place. Picked himself up his 2nd back-to-back sprint race. He won in Indianapolis, and he wins here. So fantastic performance from him. Now, can he go one better? Can he go and get himself the back-to-back victory? I think it would be a big ask in these wet conditions, but that said, him and Christian Mikel did just get themselves a 10-second lead on 3rd place there. So clearly, he is performing well in the rain.
Yeah, some great performances there tonight, although we are just I'm just processing so many messages coming through from race directors and broadcast directors and all that stuff here. So I do apologise for missing the end of the race with all the replays and things like that. It's thrown us off, but we'll try and keep composed for the next race. But we'll see what happens with the rain. Will it ease off? Will we see a dry line start to appear? Lap times full. Drivers start getting more confident in the cars. Maybe take some risks. Who knows? So stick around. Get yourself a nice cold drink, and it'll be another lovely summer's day at Silverstone.
We've been informed it may get a little drier now, so let's see. I mean, I don't think it could get much wetter. So I think that's fair to say. Just a reminder for you guys, if you've just joined us, you just missed the sprint race, which was the 15-minute race. Qualification was all over the shop because it was a drier track to start with. It got wetter and wetter as the session went on, which meant if you didn't get your time in early, it certainly caused things to be a little chaotic. And we saw that, of course, at the beginning of the sprint race. Certainly drivers, maybe you could say out of position, which is what caused certainly a lot of overtaking throughout that sprint race. Now moving on to the main race, it's all to play for because we're at the end of the season, guys. This is round 6 of 6. This is crowning a champion of the GT Challenge and also finding our top 5 that will be directly promoted to the GT Pro. And 6th to 10th, as you can see, they will be battling out in a promotion/relegation battle with the 25th to 21st place team drivers from GT Pro. I can already name who they are. We already know who's going to be in that. Certainly from the points perspective, it's going to be Risto Capit, Lorenzo Arisi, Ibrahim Khan, Polesny's in there, Verto Polesny, Alan Terzic, some mega drivers in there. It is going to be really tough, that relegation. But at the moment, I'm pretty sure we're looking at certainly Christian Mikel. He may even actually got himself into that top 5. I'm not too sure. He's got a long way to go still in terms of points cap margin. Certainly with a shot to get into that top 5 as well now after a great performance there. Cedar Vaya, Martin Durlin, he's got a lot to do. Christian Mikel, as I mentioned, Diogo Silva. Oh, well, he had a bit of a disaster. Remco Majora had a disaster. Jakovic, who was 12th, he's got to be in that top 20 now. He was 6 points shy of 10th place. Well, he definitely got that because he just got himself, I think, 8th position overall. As you can see, the current winners of the sprint races and the main race, it is back-to-back now for the Zancho as Matt Richards did get himself that win there. Varga Sim Racing, they've been a big part of this throughout the season, but they have got a lot of work to do here. No doubt about it. Yuri Toman's going to be starting out, I believe, in 3rd on the grid. So there is a big chance for him to try and get that lead and hold it. But as we just saw, he was battling out hard with Gomez, Pedro Gomez, throughout that. Pedro Gomez obviously joining the championship in the last 2 races. So obviously putting in a performance down there. He won the sprint, the main race actually, in the series below at Sebring. So certainly a driver that can bring it. We'll see what he can bring to the table though here, Aidan.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see. I'm sure the drivers are on their warm-up right now. We're on board with Cito Vaya. You can see his throttle inputs, just gingerly applying throttle through the acceleration zones, try and get the car turned without spinning the back end out, and through the kink Aintree that leads out onto the Wellington Straight. You can see the plume of spray in front from one of the cars. So the cars will be heavier. This time around, they're going to be running for 45 minutes, not 15, so theoretically triple the amount of fuel, if my maths serves me correctly, and which it never has done through the course of the 2 series that we've got. Donut Prodan, he's entering the sort of infield loop, trying to stuff that sausage curve because that will really throw you off. And like Cedo, just keeping it nice and steady into turn 4. It's going to be interesting to watch them on those higher fuel loads flying into turn 1. If hopefully they all survive this time round.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely going to be interesting. Obviously, we had a bit of a chaotic start in the sprint race where a couple of cars were sideways after a couple of punts in the back, sending, well, as you'd expect in the rain, a lot of cars having to hard brake and turn. Things go wrong sometimes with these beasts that are due to go very fast. Kurjan was one of those, had a bit of a disastrous qualifying and sprint race, which is a shame because Kurjan has put in some great times over the series since getting promoted up here. Certainly looking good through some of the races. Joined us in the 3rd race in Sebring. He actually came up from getting himself a win in the main race in Imola in the series below, as well as a couple of placements and a 3rd place in the sprint race as well at the Nürburgring. So certainly a driver that can do it. We'll see what he's going to bring to the table. He's going to be starting a long way down the field though, unfortunately. I think he was down about 26th or something like that. It was certainly down there, was one of the drivers that were involved in a very early incident. So we'll see how it works out for him as they set themselves up down that Hamilton Straight.
Turn 1 will be probably a bit of an orange zone, given how, I mean, the high-powered downforce car, it's flat out, so it's going to be taking a lot slower in these, and they've got to just be mindful of that. Hopefully nobody cuts across another driver and causes any carnage, as we say. Paul August Lana coming through Woodcut over the old start-finish straight. And then up towards Cops Corner, where we didn't see that many people going too far wide, but over 45 minutes, if the track does dry out enough and they try to go too fast through there, we could see some penalties picked up, and that is the warm-up over. So we'll be moving to the race very, very shortly. So final race of GT Challenge Season 3. Have a new champion crowned, as we do in every season of GT Challenge, because you can't win it twice in a row. But I absolutely can't wait. So hopefully we go out with a great race to commentate on, and lots of action to get us wanting a Season 4.
So let's get the grid on your screens and see how this is all going to shake out, because it certainly shook up a little bit in the final lap there, with a couple of position changes, a couple of cars simply going off the track. Paul August Lana, I believe, is going to be starting on the pole there. The man we just saw there, because he ended up in 10th, if I'm not mistaken. Despite actually running in, I think he was running in like 3rd or 4th for a while there. Certainly up there. I remember Capomagin passed him because of that. So he may have been sick. Let's have a look. So main race starting order. 45-minute main race action will be Paul August Lana indeed on that first place for Volante. Nico Barkley in second place. Jakovic up into third. Great for him. He was running in 12th for a while there, so gets himself in there. I just missed who was fourth. Apologies. Yuri Toman in fifth place. Capomagin is in sixth. Cito Vaya in seventh. And Orocek in eighth. I believe it was Gomez in fourth, if I'm not mistaken. Down in ninth place, Christian Mikel for the seat of Nito Velix. Matt Richards, what could be the champion, just looking to survive, as he says, in 10th place. Prezi Martono, though, hot on his heels, 14th. He was third in the championship coming into this one, along with Chinchik, who got himself up into 15th position. Some tough challenges there. Martin Doolan fighting to stay in the top 10, currently in 17th place. Around in Abdallah, he must have had an outing. Abdallah was running in 6th or 7th, so he must have been one of the cars that went off there. Remco Major also with a lot to do. He's down in 23rd. He was 11th in the championship after the win at Indianapolis, his first win here in the GT Challenge, with a lot of work to do for him. Diogo Silva way down at the back after a DNF there, 28th position. He was 10th at the start of this race in championship points. He now has a hell of a task to stay in that promotional chances.
Yeah, Diogo Silva, 28th on the grid in the Audi, so basically 10th down starts where they finish. So Diogo Silva bringing up the rear of the field. Matteo De Croix, Juan Carlos Fernandez looking to get through the field if they can, as the field comes through. Cops on board with Cito Vaya, who can barely see anything in front of him. And Matt Richards has written in the Traction.gg YouTube chat, aim, survive lap 1. So I'm sure he'll be able to do that and just nab some points to secure, or potentially secure, the GT Challenge crown for Season 3.
He's certainly going to have to be on tippy toes, no doubt about it, through those first few corners. Yuri Toman will be looking to try and pick up a victory here and maybe chase down, but it's going to require, I believe, to take the championship, it's going to require Matt Richards to have a bit of an off. He'll certainly have a poor performance. Pedro Gomez, probably the best start for him. I certainly don't remember seeing him in the top 10 before, so fantastic performance, benefiting from the chaos in the rain here at the British Silverstone Grand Prix track. And Paul August Lana, his first pole position here in the GT Challenge this season in that Callaway Corvette, although probably not where he would like to be, because he was running much higher in the field. As we go through the Vale, look to get things ready to go, Aidan. This is going to be a fiery start. We'll see when and where he gets and drops the hammer as he comes over the line. Holds it.
Good.
Holds it. A little bit too much. And I think we're about 5 wide down the Hamilton straight. And how the hell are they all going to squeeze in there? Well, that's
God.
answer. It is absolute chaos.
Okay. Anyway, moving on. As there is definitely a yellow out in sector 1 as Matt Richards is trying to
survive.
He's
got Presley Martono and Rocek alongside him, so that's Silva that was actually that we were looking at. That's alongside them. We're still 3 wide as we get in towards Brooklands and Luffield. Woodcut as well. Sorry, the whole section, which was so slow in the first race, in the sprint race, and you can see it's still pretty much tippy toes there as Matt Richards delicately approaches Presley Martono's car. Presley Martono was 3rd in the championship coming into this race. Matt Richards currently the leader. Someone that has gained from this is Marcel Shinchik. From 16th up into 9th now. Yuri Toman went backwards. He's down into 13th position, so was obviously involved in what happened there. Looks like Gomez, Jacobs, all DNFs already. In terms of replays, I'm scared to see exactly what the hell happened there because, well, frankly, it did look a little bit chaotic as they swept through the farm and approached the village. It definitely looked a bit messy.
Might as well just put the whole race under a permanent code 80 at this rate. It's Silva leading a train here, which is going to help Matt Richards out because he's now up into 7th, so he's had a monstrous start to clear all of that and gain a few positions in the process, and he's up the back of Presley Martono. You think he might actually clear that Bentley within a few corners. Bentley's struggling, and then it's his next target being Rocek, but Silva, I don't know if there's going to be any...
God.
We're going to see...
Oh, God. Okay, here we go. Through the
Cover your eyes, children.
Oh, okay, so it's just 2 cars simply getting the side. Oh, Lord. I think that's Toman, isn't it? That's Toman that got it sideways in the middle of the pack. Yeah, I mean, once a car's sideways in the middle of the pack, it's only ever going to be, like, just hope. Close your eyes and hope, effectively, that you're going to get round, because at that stage... so I'm interested to see what sort of damage Yuri Toman has. He's currently in 13th position. Kurjan up to 11th. What in the world has happened to him? He was way down the field. Kurjan absolutely on a mighty charge. Definitely benefiting from the chaos that happened further down. So he's up into 11th position right now.
Yeah, Kurjan must have got the look of the draw here this evening as you see the field snaking its way through Luffield Bend, which leads out onto the old pit straight, the old pit arena, because it's going to go through Woodcut, which is taken flat out in virtually any car ever built ever, and then up to Cops. But we'll see Nico Barkley leading this race for Wanako, considering he was near the back of the grid before race 1. That's he's loving life at the minute.
Okay, we're having another. Okay, have a close one. This is. Is this Matt Richards we're riding on it? I think it might be.
Yeah, it is.
So there's Yuri. So there's Yuri ahead.
Just get me out of here.
Just get out the way of Yuri there. And actually, I don't think that was Yuri Toman, I don't think that was Gomez, wasn't it? That was Gomez in the McLaren. That's Matt Richards catching Christian Mikel. That's Toman. There's Toman on the loop. And he gets... Well, just a little side swipe from Christian Mikel. So it was actually Gomez that was going sideways in there.
So this is the onboard view from Silva. There was something going up there as well as Capamajan just gives... I think it was one of the McLaren's a bit of a punt
so there's
on the
Lana.
So there might have been a false start in there.
That's Toman. So there's Gomez. That's Gomez going out. So Gomez catches Jakovic by the looks of it as well there, I think it was, that he caught. That's unfortunate for Jakovic because obviously he's in a certain chance. Here's Jakobs. So Jakobs also is a DNF. So something happened here for him to get
one of the ones that got air.
Yeah, I think he's trying to avoid and then, straight to Jakovic. Yeah, nothing you can do about that.
That's what happens when you try to win at turn 1, kids.
Yes, I mean, I was a little fearful as soon as I saw Lana holding it to the line there and we saw it about 5 wide, and it's just simply a case of you, like, especially that corner, it's such a quick corner that even if you're 2 wide doesn't really work, let alone 5. It's just like, what's going on here? So yes, okay. Someone that has benefited massively from this, Luis Felipe Capamagian, looking great for him. Finished in, I believe, 5th place in the sprint race, and now currently running in 3rd place. He was 6th overall, chasing David Rocek, Yuri Toma, Presley Martono, Chinchik, and Richards. As you can see, they're all behind him right now. So in terms of points, he only needed to gain 6-7 points on David Rocek. Absolutely done that already. So already looking like he may well have made his way into that top 5 position. It is going to be really hot because you can see Presley Martono and Rocek. That means one of these is almost certainly going to drop out of there. So they need to get their butts moving in these Bentleys. It's great for them to be in the 5th and 6th, but in terms of qualification, they're certainly going to be in the relegation battle. But we've already talked about the drivers that are coming from GT Pro. There is 5 very, very good drivers in that promotion series already. So these guys are going to have to try and oof it so they can get that direct promotion. You can see Martono hot onto Rocek here. Oh, don't send it. Don't send it. That's not going to work. Oh, he backed out a little bit, but he actually may well bully his way through here, side by side. Richards up behind him thinking, thank you very much. I'll take the toe from Rocek and try and squeeze on through the inside on Martono. No, it's not going to work. Not going to be able to get the switch back here as they go around Luffield. And and then flat out, as you say, through Brooklands. But interesting racing here.
Yeah, the onboard there for Matt Richards' car is that's Marcel Chinchik having to pop his nose out to say, hello, I'm here. Now, hopefully these two won't come to blows again in this race. Remember that Chinchik is on super ultra double ultra probation, so he's going to have to behave himself. So if he fires Richards off or he fires anybody else off, he's going to be in a lot of trouble as the two Bentleys struggling to get the power down coming out of the Farm Village section and then through entry onto the Wellington Straight, where they just unleashed that superb straight line speed that they've had all season. They've just not got the mechanical grip on the wet track.
Look how slidey the Bentleys are struggling in this wet. Martono really having to hold on here. Martono, by the way, done a great job because obviously he had a rough race in the sprint race. So he's done very well to get himself in this position already. I think he started down in 27th. Wasn't he way down there? I'm sure he was on the start of the grid. I'm going to have to double check that. I'm pretty sure Martono was down in like 27th or something like that because I was talking about him and Chinchik being down there. Both these drivers benefiting massively from the chaos that pursued. What is going on back there? Martono looks like he's going so much slower, creating a right train behind him right now.
Yeah, Rocek's managed to gap him slightly. Via's managed to gap them both. Via's looking towards Capamajan at the minute. But it looks like if Matt Richards can get just within that slipstream, that McLaren should easily breeze by into Stowe. As long as the grip levels are A-OK, of course.
Definitely a train forming behind Presley Martono here. Richards has another look. No defensive moves from Martono. Thought about it, just eased off the brakes a little bit too much there, and made sure he's got to be careful, of course, as you mentioned. Marcel Chinchik up behind him, Christian McKell in there, Mats Incursion also making great ground. Yuri Toman still down in 13th, Martin Derlin in 14th. He needs to try and make some ground, and I got to feel that Jakovic, I think is he a DNF? I didn't actually catch where he was. It looks like he may well be a DNF or certainly in the bottom 20. So while he had a great sprint race, that may cost him in terms of points in the overall. He is indeed 21st, so that hurt him. Obviously, he was the Audi that got sent spiraling by Gomez earlier on.
Richards all over the back of this bright orange Bentley right now. McLaren just, he'll try and pull away if he can get past, but he's just got to get into that slipstream. Try something maybe into Brooklands, but you see what Matt Richards is trying to do. He's not trying to send it up the inside. He's putting the nose in such a position where Martono will move out of the way, and then he can just take the line and go through. So he doesn't actually have to try and do a traditional overtake, as it were, and risk going off himself. So if he can somehow psychologically get Martono out of the way, like that, for instance, and there you go. That's exactly what I was talking about. it's like
psychological pressure.
I think he's a beta Z. He knows what I'm thinking. There you go, Star Trek references. Get that one out of the way.
Getting that into a sim racing, impressive. Okay, well, you see Cinchik also having a little look there. He wants to stay on the coattails of Matt Richards and just hope he can keep his championship alive at the moment. After a bad sprint race, he's going to be well aware that it's probably a done deal, but certainly wants to stay into that top 5. We were talking about the fact he didn't really get any points for... Actually, I don't know. I'll have to double check. Oh, Martone really struggling with that Bentley, isn't he? Sliding all over the place as we exit Chapel. And at the moment, he's looking like he's there to be had. Can he try and make it work? As they go into Stowe, it's going to be around the outside. That's going to be tricky. Oh, no! I think he contacted. I'm pretty sure he turned in there. And Martono will just, in the end, I mean, you're certainly not going to come out on top if you biff into the side of a Bentley. That's going to send you flying. And it does mean that Christian Mikel also went through.
So that is... so Christian Mikel has now gone up into 8th place. Marcel Cinchik absolutely clobbering the sausage curb at the final corner that leads out onto the Sir Lewis Hamilton straight. And now you've got Christian Mikel and Marcel Cinchik fighting into turn 3.
He's going for the switchback. That doesn't really work through the village, does it? Then into the loop. Trying to cut inside. Certainly not here. He's going to try as best he can, but Martono's the slow one in front of them as they come into Aintree. And it's just simply a case of follow my leader now and try and get that drag. Try and see if you can outbrake. Maybe Oliver taking opportunity. He's certainly going to be hot onto Christian Mikel, but he's got to watch his braking point and make sure he doesn't go into the back of that Audi. He is on very much probationary at the moment. Cinchik will need to be as clean as he can. We should mention Nico Barkley, by the way, 5 seconds in the lead now from Paul August Lana. So great drive from Nico Barkley, a driver that's sort of been in and around the Pro and the Challenge for a very long time, through all 3 seasons. From what I can remember, I distinctly remember him in the Callaway in the Pro in season 2. So yeah, he's putting up a great performance. Unfortunately, I don't think it's going to be enough for him to get back into Pro. He's a little off it in terms of pace overall and points in the championship, but yeah, had a bit of a disaster in a couple of them where I think he got punted off at Sebring both times, if I remember rightly. So let's have another look at this. This is just simply a case of just turning in a little bit, and more a case of just holding the race in line here, I think, Martono.
This is on board. Ooh.
I don't think he turned, I don't think Cinchik turned at all. I mean, his hands were staying pretty straight there.
It's hard to tell with the... okay.
Martono was just getting his elbows out a little bit, I think.
I retract everything I just said.
Yeah. As I say, from Cinchik's point of view, he certainly didn't turn in. There's no doubt about that. So, at the moment, he does lose a position anyway, either way, because of that. Still, running in 9th is, in terms of promotion, he's safe. He doesn't need to get overexcited, doesn't need to pressure him. In terms of the top 5 points, he was pretty much a runaway. We're talking... it's a 30-point gap, I would say, down to Cap Margin. That said, with Toman also having a bad performance at the moment down in 12th, obviously he got caught up. He didn't actually get hit, I don't believe, in the first corner incidents. It was more a case of avoidance action for Toman.
Luis Filipe Capamajan, Silva in behind. It's starting to brighten up out there, so we can't particularly see it on our Discord stream where we're having the broadcast fed to us in real time. And then it's obviously fired out to YouTube on Traction.gg's YouTube channel and the rFactor 2 Twitch channel at rFactor 2 or rFactor Live, I should say. Not seeing any raindrops on the screen, so I think it might have actually stopped raining. So see what happens and let you know what's going to happen with like the rain intensity later on. Let's see Levi within 3.5 tenths or so. Oh, now 4 tenths of, and then catches back up again. So he's managed to sort of like an elastic band the gap through Cops. Bad exit there for Calvin Machan, and then through into Maggots and Beckett's. Be interesting to see what the Audi's like with the tyres. We've seen them overheat and drop off, and they lose pace depending on the track. McLaren just seems to be a better all-rounder at the minute, so you would expect Silva. I mean, he's a bit too far back at the second to try anything into Stowe. But he's definitely giving that Audi the big hurry up.
We'll keep our eyes, see whether the racing line starts to dry out as well. Just, as you say, see how it goes. Plenty of time to go in this race, 30 minutes, and still seeing the wiper going wild for Silva. But that's because he's right up the rear end of Capomaggian at the moment. Luis Felipe. Yellows in Sector 2. Somebody has just had an outing through that middle section, so probably just cutting. The fact that Chinchik just took over Christian Mikel as well, moves himself back into 7th, and that's Martono down to 9th. So definitely been something happened down between those three that were driving hard, as Martono has lost 2 grid positions.
Martono down into 9th, 11.5 seconds off the lead. Guilherme Mas in 10th position. That's a good outing for him. And just see that Paul August Lana is starting to bring Capomaggian via now Richards in 5th place. He's cleared Mrocek. It's a move that we didn't get to see. But I wonder what will happen between Cedo and Matt. Will there be a bit of team orders in play? Will Cedo let Matt through once he catches up? We'll wait and see and find out. But he's had another little sniff at Luis Felipe Capomaggian going into Brooklands and then up towards Luffield. Maybe you can try the Richards method of psychologically getting the car out of the way as opposed to forcing the way through.
I'm not sure I'd want to let him through. Cito Valla's in a possibility to get into that top 5. So
that is also true.
He was 30 points off David Rocek, who is obviously in 6th position right now. Sure, don't get me wrong, Matt Richards could win the championship, and I've got to be honest, I think he's kind of done it already. We'll see, obviously, how the race were to play out. Oh, Lana just a little bit tipsy there, puts Capomaggian right onto his back as they sweep through Beckett's. That's an interesting one, throwing in there, and coming out of Chapel. Into the hangar, Cito Valla definitely caught ground, but more importantly, Capomaggian is right on the back end of that Callaway Corvette. Let's see whether he can try it round the outside and maybe go for the switchback through Stowe. I don't think that's really going to work out in his favour, but that's definitely brought Matt Richards right onto the back. That was a wide run from Paul August Lana in that Corvette there as they go hard on the brakes into Vale.
Yeah, the 4 of them very, very close right now as they come up with about 27 minutes on the clock. It's all looking very, very tasty.
Capomaggian, Cito Valla right on the back of him. He's really struggling, it seems. That's a wide run from Capomaggian. That's going to open the door for Cito Valla to try and squeeze on through into the loop there. Round the outside certainly won't work here as they're going to get the drag down into Aintree, but it's brought Matt Richards back into this one as they try and desperately gain the ground. Okay, let's see. Will they make a move here into Brooklands? Is it going to be a little nudge up the inside, hard on the brakes to see if Capomaggian goes defensive? No, keeps pretty much middle of the track there, as defensive as he can be. Oh, look how twitchy that Audi got, though. Really struggling here around Luffield.
Pressure or tyres, who knows at this point. Here's a replay of Marcel Chinchik.
So this is Presley Martono and Rocek, yeah. This is the overtake. This was a couple of laps back to see exactly what happened. So Martono just completely, it looked like Martono completely did his brakes, lost the line there. And as you say, contact between Mikel and Martono, and Chinchik sneaks on through.
That was a brave little look from Cito Valla into the left-hander at Maggots. Maybe try and force Capomaggian offline. We've seen that Audi starting to twitch, so just one mistake and that Audi could tumble down the order.
Well, this is buying time for Lana, but Nico Barkley now 10 seconds adrift almost from Paul August Lana as he's just lost 2 seconds. What just happened there? Nico Barkley just having off. He just lost 2 seconds in time, so that tells me there may have been a runoff. I didn't see any yellow flags flash up though. but he definitely just lost 2 seconds in time. So whether maybe Nico's just pacing himself. It depends, of course, what part of the track he was on, possibly going through the Vale. Okay, possibly that could have been what it was.
The gap's starting to grow again, so it's no big loss in the grand scheme of things as Capajan and Via nose to tail through turn 1. Yellow in sector 3, what's that for? Cursion. Cursion stacked it at some point.
And he was running in around 11th at one point.
Yeah,
so, Capajan, Cito Via, this is a great move for him coming through the loop. Maybe make it work here as he goes into Aintree.
It's the same move they did before.
It is, and it sends once again
exactly the same.
Onto the grass, but this time he keeps it safe, keeps it steady. Now, as we come in towards Brooklands, is he going to be able to sneak up, looking to, once again, Capajan keeping that car as wide as he can. A tiny tap, but that was more a case of cutting across here, and he should be safe as we go into Luffield. Looking for possible switch from Cito Via, not going to happen, but look at this, it's brought down Rocek right onto the back of Matt Richards. The train is starting to grow behind Paul August Lana here. Actually, it's more behind Capajan than Lana, let's face it.
Yeah, Lana's had a bit of a break here, whereas Capajan really struggling, and because of the wet conditions, can't really overtake in the same way you can in the dry, because if there's water about, it makes the track wet. It just makes everything a lot harder to do than it would be when it's dry. So in a dry race, you'd think that half of these cars would have blown by already.
Absolutely. Chinchik right in there as well. Don't forget Christian McKell. They're all very much within biting range, effectively. Any small mistake will cost them. And there's going to be a couple of drivers trying to be as cautious and careful as they can. Capajan, absolutely one of them, looking to get himself into that auto promotion once again. I think I just saw Chinchik making a move onto Rocek back there. Didn't look like it made it stick, though. Just simply a little look more than anything. He's definitely right on the back of him, as we see once again Cito Via having a little look up the inside. Not going to work out for him. Further back, Marcel Chinchik certainly wants to get a piece of this as he's alongside Dawid Rocek, definitely looking to see if he can get him through. And remember, both these drivers very much in that top 5 direct promotion, but Chinchik is right alongside him now. Still doesn't really have a chance to have a look, just has a sneak peek up the inside, but Rocek holds strong.
Yeah, just another reminder that Chinchik has to be careful. If Rocek goes into the weeds like he did at Indianapolis, then if Chinchik is in the automatic promotion, there is a chance that he might not make it because of what's happened, and that is Cito Via finally making the move on Luis Felipe Capajan. What's Matt Richards going to do? Is Matt Richards going to do what Cito did on the last lap and in the first race? Yes, I think that's both of them now past the Audi, so that's got the 2 Sancho cars into 3rd and 4th.
Let's see what they can do then. So, see if they can chase down Paul August Lana, because clearly Luis Felipe Capajan is struggling at the moment in this Audi, because they are starting to stack up behind him. Now you can see Rocek is almost looking at him straight away, right onto the back of Capajan there. Don't forget Chinchik just further down there. But, as you mentioned, both Sanchos passed. Going to try and chase down Paul August Lana in that Callaway Corvette, who did struggle. He was in a similar situation, running about 3rd or 4th in the sprint race, and he ended up going down 10th place in the end as he started to struggle under braking. Let's see exactly how this plays off. Is it simply a look up the loop? There it is. Just a little look inside. Was there contact? Couldn't tell. I'm going to look on the stream because it's clearer. I don't think so, I'm not sure.
It looks like I just saw twitch as it caught up. I think there might have been the slightest of touches. We might need to see maybe from on the top of Cito's car or something like that.
Rocek's going for it. He's straight past, sweeps through on Capajan there. Absolutely nothing he could do, and it looks like Chinchik is looking to try and pick him off as well as he's alongside. Side by side at the moment. He's got to be so careful in these situations. Turns in absolutely as delicately as he can. Marcel Chinchik will have the inside line, and he goes through on Capajan. He is going backwards right now from 3rd down to 7th. Has he got problems with his Audi right now?
I might say yes, because the pace has just vanished. But that said, Christian McCall is keeping up. So maybe it's maybe the problem is picnic, which is problem in chair, not in car. And this is the onboard from Silva Via's right front as they come up into turn 4. Oh, a bit of a tap. If that gets reported, it might be a penalty inbound.
That is a tap for
that would be a bump and run.
Who is currently 7th in the championship, obviously benefiting from that as well, along with Matt Richards. Not that he's anything to do with that, the championship leader. And we'll see how that works out. Whether there was damage on that rear left, I don't know. Maybe that's what's causing him, because he's definitely struggling at the moment. You can see Christian Mikel all over the back of him, so clearly something definitely up with that Audi right now. In fairness, Christian Mikel, who had a little bit of an outing in the Audi, almost collecting Presley Martono earlier on, who himself is running in 9th, actually causing a little bit of a train behind him. But we were talking about whether they're going to catch Paul Lana. It's happened. It's happened within a lap. They've gained that 2-second gap within a lap. Silva Via and Matt Richards once again on it, and I got to feel the pressure on that Corvette is already starting to show, almost going sideways there, puts himself out of position coming out of Chapel, and that will be a simple pass, I believe, unless we see some crazy braking action here going into Stowe. I'm a little scared to see how close they are into Stowe.
Oh, and it is get closer.
Silva Via had to back out. He had to back out of that one. Looking for the switchback though, because that Corvette is all over the place right now as they head into Vale.
Smart driving to back out. That could have been nasty from Silva Via. Just be gentle with the car. I mean, you're in 3rd. You should have your automatic promotion spot secured by this point, but we'll see the standings at the end of the race and see what happens there, as he's having a little sniff of the inside into Abbey. Matt Richards just holding in behind. Maybe this is as you say, try to get Cedo as far up. If Richards can give Cedo the hurry up and get him further up by pushing him rather than pulling him, and then get that automatic promotion secured and then go from there. But Cedo Via's had a better second half of the season compared to the first half. He was sort of struggling, and now he's really come on song in the last 3 races.
Great to hear from Pedro Gomez as well. Talking about lost his, he's in the YouTube chat right now saying he's lost his braking viewpoint behind Nico. Braked early, but seeing the replay, it needed to be earlier. I mean, you can get caught out. It's the conditions sometimes. Oh, Lana.
Here we go.
Silva Via right alongside this time. Is it going to work out? Or more importantly, oh, he's just sliced Matt Richards up there. My word. As Adrian Millward holds his breath as the two Sancho cars. We were talking about, is there going to be race orders? Well, no, there bloody ain't. That's for sure, because Silva Via nearly took his front end clean off.
That was almost like Mark Webber's squeal from yesterday evening. That was so. I do apologise. This is why I have push to talk. But sometimes I press the talk button and not realise I've done it. So hashtag no bias. But that was almost an unhappy ending from those two. I'm sure there's they're probably laughing about it in their Discord chat. But that was a code brown.
Well, there is a driver that is benefiting quite a lot right now, and that is Diogo Silva. He's up into 14th and counting. He is on the charge at the moment. We'll see whether he can keep charging. Martin Durland also needs to get his foot down. He was a driver that was in 8th in the championship, but had an obviously disaster in the first race. Now, drivers around him, Christian Mikel certainly passed him. I think he's saving grace right now as the Diogo Silva, Renko Major, Jakovic, all obviously having offs or outings, whichever you prefer to call it. Either way, not a great performance here at Silverstone in the wet. Silva Via once again going for it. This time should be able to make it stick as he goes up the inside of Paul Lana. Will be on the outside here, but I feel he's going to have the drive. Now, keep your eye on Matt Richards, looking to try and follow through here. Should be able to go for it, looking for that undercut once again, as you can see Silva Via squeezing him out through Village into the loop. Rocek is also looking up the inside. Keep your eye on Matt Richards, and well, somehow Paul Lana coming through the loop has managed to hold on once again for another lap, it seems, but they're going to be hard on him into Brooklands.
Yeah, they've got to be careful with Darren Rocek coming in from behind, so they're looking ahead of them to get past Paul Auguslano, while simultaneously looking in the mirrors for Rocek on board with the big boy Bentley. That rear end of Matt Richards' car is
it's looking a little
more
crumpled,
second-hand
isn't
now.
it?
It gets another bit of a love tap from Davin Rocek, and here's a replay now.
You can't kink shame him like that on stream.
Here we go.
Oh, this is what we like to see.
boy.
Super slow-mo. Yeah, look at Cedar Vyers, nice and clean. Can we even see Matt Richards' car in there? No, we can't. It's in the haze. Side by side once again. This time it's not going to be able to stick as they go through Maggots into Beckett's as they sweep on through the Exeter Chapel. Oh, hello, Matt Richards thought about it. They thought I could. There was gap. I think cool, calm head thinking there. Championship head maybe considering there. Matt Richards didn't go for the gap. Didn't think it was worth it, especially the fact that Cedar Vaya is there. But look at the train coursing behind him. Shinchik having a little peek on Rocek there. Cedar Vaya once again up the inside. This time will no! He's spotted on Stowe, and that's going to be a disaster for Cedar Vaya, who was looking to chase the championship points. He's currently sitting in 7th place. It should be safe, but it looks like it certainly will be promotion for him as Martin Dillon will go through. So he goes all the way down from 3rd place to 11th. Oh, Shinchik got past Rocek as well at the same time. So Shinchik managed to squeeze on through from up into 4th place. So he's hot on the heels of Matt Richards still. And by the way, not got past Paul Auguslano still.
Bother, I think is the operative word to use there, but something, no longer going for a gap, something.
Christian Mikel just got past David Rocek further behind as well, so they're side by side. So Mikel up into 5th place. That is big for him in terms of championship chasing. Kapamajian, by the way, now has Yuri Toman on his back, so he has made some serious ground in there as well. Matt Richards, just a little peek, got to be very careful of how this works out for him. Can't outbrake himself, tries to go for the switch, and ooh, hard on the brakes was Shinchik up behind him as well, making sure he doesn't connect as they all look to keep themselves within race pace. And this is risky at the moment, but you know what? There's a man at the front that this is benefiting. Nico Barkley running away with it. Okay, so this is going to be Chinchik getting past, and we're going to see a Zancho car going sideways in a second, and that's what they all avoid, and that Rocek had to be hard on the avoidance, and that buys the opportunity for Chinchik to get through.
I think Rocek actually hit Vaya's car. There was a bit of a jolty move.
It may have spun him round and going back in race pace, to be fair.
But back live with the cars exiting Chapel, heading onto Hanger Straight. So Matt Richards now has the opportunity to make a move to Stowe. I don't think he'll try and send it like Vaya did, but I mean, they've lost so much time to Nico Barkley. That gap is over 15 seconds now. So Nico Barkley, having started near the back of the grid, might potentially win with just over 11 minutes remaining. Or just under 12 minutes remaining, I guess.
It's not quite Taco Tuesday, is it? It's still on Monday.
Well, I might as well have tacos now. Why not? Every day is taco day.
It is in his household. Mikel straight through. That's how he did it on Rocek. Got the elbows out on the way through, but certainly made it work with relative ease there.
Corvette really struggling, but still doing a stellar job keeping the cars behind. Well, behind, as Matt Richards gives it full send and just showing the nose and gets a bit of a love tap from Marcel Chinchik.
Just a little tap. I think that was more a case of Richards getting hard on the brake after looking at the full send and then sort of second guessing himself, it seemed there, as he was hard on it. But back out into the straight they go, and still they stay behind Paul Auguslano, who's hanging on in that Corvette with the final 10 minutes approaching. Can he keep hold of his podium position? It's looking more and more unlikely as the race goes on. Oh, Richards gone wide there. Chinchik just had to think of it there, but that was definitely a wide run from Richards, and that puts him on the defensive now.
Yeah, one of the lines that you can take through Luffield is to go out and then come back in. So I don't know if that's what Richards was trying for the straight, to run out onto the old pit straight, but definitely gave the opportunity for Marcel Cinčić to have a little bit of a look, and Marcel's car looking a bit crumbled at the front, so I don't think he's had any sort of high impact contact like he did at Indianapolis, and that's just like the accumulation of several little biffs over the course of the last sort of 40 minutes or so.
So let's see. Further down the field, Cito Vaya, after his little spin, he's right onto Martin Durland here. Martin Durland, of course, fighting to keep himself within points contention. He was 8th at the start of this race, but didn't score points as far as I remember in the sprint race. So a top 10 finish here would certainly benefit him and keep him within there, because Diogo Silva is behind him. Remco Major is behind him. Jakovic is behind him. Ardianci, I don't believe, is racing today. And Jakob's also behind him. So in terms of being into that promotion series, it does look good for Martin Durland here, but he's absolutely going to want to defend this top 10.
Definitely making that Bentley very, very big. But Vaya has already had one spin. He doesn't want to have another spin. That Bentley gets a little bit of slip on the exit of Abbey. Still under control and keeps the speed up towards turn 3. Now on board with
Yuri
Toman. Captain Majian hasn't dropped back much further. Seems to have gained some pace back, or the pace deficit's been negated.
Oh, who's this in front? This is Richards getting past Lana, having a little look up the outside, going into Brooklands. There's the switch.
There you go.
That worked beautifully, forcing Lana to outbrake himself. Cinčić looks like he may well get through. Oh, a little biff onto Cinčić there. That forces him wide at Lovefield there. Now, is Christian Mikel looking to squeeze on through? Yes, he is, as they come out the exit of Woodland flat out. And Cinčić certainly going to be getting the call, car right, but does look like Mikel has dropped back now. But now Matt Richards is through. Okay, don't think you're going to make 16 seconds up in 8 minutes. That's not going to happen, I don't think.
Oh, we saw a tyre explode.
Oh, who's gone wide? Someone's just gone wide.
It's flashing because someone's not happy. I think that might have been Toman.
I couldn't see who it was further back. Rocek is back there. Maybe it was Toman. Yeah, it certainly was. Cinčić just having a little peek, see if he can get past Lana's Corvette as well. But nice, I would say, mind games almost from Richards there, forcing Lana to go late on the brakes and just simply caught him out there. Matt Richards is off and away, already gone in the distance. There's no doubt about it. You can see the gap that's already formed between him and Richards. Cito Vaya further back, he's up behind Martin Durland. That is a battle for 10th place right now. And in the middle here, Marcel Cinčić chasing to get into the podium positions. Whoa, hard on the brakes on Lana there.
That was close.
That was going into
very
Vale,
close,
wasn't it? Yeah, that was very much on the brakes. Christian Mikel up behind him as well. Great race from him so far, keeping that position. Rocek and Toman further back. Martono still in 9th as well. That is quite important news, because Martono did start the day in 3rd place. So we'll see whether he's done enough to keep himself in that top 5. I'm not too sure. Once again, Cinčić having a little look. There's certainly damage on the front of that car, Cinčić. Now there's damage on the back of that Corvette. That was a dink.
Yep. It's definitely a dink. I'm sure that's not enough to warrant not getting promoted. I think it's if there's like, oh, hang on a second. No, he's managed to avoid that. I think he's trying the Richards manoeuvre. But gets almost speared off himself.
Is that Mikel? I think he was.
Mikel's bought the farm.
Yeah, that was definitely Mikel going into the back of him, and that's put Mikel right down. So down into 12th position. Now, Christian Mikel started their day in 9th place. Did have a good finish, however, in the sprint race, so we'll see whether that affects it. Remember, all the points for this I will be posted sometime after the race. Rocek through. See you later, Cinčić. That is a clean move.
Yeah, the camera angle sort of probably didn't give the full picture there. I think just got either got too deep into cops, turning too late, and then Rocek took advantage, or if there may be a bit of contact in there, and or it's Be interesting to see that one again. As now Rocek fluffs it up at the second part of Brooklands. That's going to compromise his straight line speed down the back straight. And, sorry, not Brooklands, Beckett's and Chapel as into Stowe. No, Chinchik can't take advantage of that. Here's a replay.
Let's have a look. This is going to be Christian McKell, I'm almost certain. There's Rocek's point of view. So this is just going to be him sending it past. Yeah, just simply outbraking himself. Yeah, beautiful move. Beautiful move. Clean as. Love it. That's more like it, Rocek. That's a driver that's almost certainly going to be going up into the top 5 and was in 5th place to start with. So looking great for him to be promoted into GT Pro next season.
This is still Chinchik and Rocek coming up to the new infield section. It's 10 years old now. Still nice and clean.
It's
from
still
Chinchik.
new to me.
Yeah. we grew up with a different layout, but
I used to sit there actually at the corner there. So that was where I sat. It was actually the last year. It was in that section.
Look at the gap that Richards has got now to Paul August Lana.
So Matt Richards, this is his move on Paul August Lana earlier on, just squeezing through. This is where. Actually, this is what are we showing here? Okay, this is where, yeah, just totally through he goes. That's a bit of a spearhead. This is back at Village and Farm. Is this a while back? Okay. I think
he got past him in Brooklands a bit further on.
Yeah, I was going to say this was the move. So this is where he basically baited Richards, baited him, got hard on the brakes. Lana's just a little too late, and that was a beautiful little switchback. That's where it all got a little squirrely, but everybody lived to say hello.
Oh, hello.
Who's this? Chinchik. So he's had an outing there on maybe a bit too hot on the back of Rocek as we came out of the replay. It looks like it possibly having to take the runoff there. That's the crop with a penalty. So that's further down the field. So possible cutting going on there.
Yeah, let's see how he ended up there. Did he go too deep? Did he get contacted? Did he do whatever? As we're on the top of President Martono's bright orange Bentley, here's a replay now of Marcel Chinchik coming up through towards Maggots and Beckett's. I mean, he's on his own here, so
he's well away from Rocek.
Oh,
he's just lost it. Yeah. Managed to catch it. There's plenty of runoff there, so it's not too bad.
The joys of modern Grade 1 circuits.
Yeah, indeed. Something that, the Nordschleife could have done with a bit off, the weekend. There was
just
no
a bit. That was a
it.
huge crash.
There were so many. There was so, which one? Which one do you count?
Yes.
I mean, obviously the Mercedes that was running well, the number 4 car that was running so well for a long time, and that, I don't know, that collected one of the Opel Manta, wasn't it? It collected, but anyway, that's getting aside because we are low on time now. We're just under the 2-minute mark. Nico Barkley, the taco sensation at the front, led all the way from start to finish. He hasn't been involved. He managed to avoid all the carnage that happened earlier on. Just going over the line for his final lap now as he gets things underway. What a great race from Nico here. That's going to be his first win of the season as well, with Matt Richards now up in 2nd place. And by the way, Matt Richards pulled himself a 7-second gap over Paul August Lana already.
That's huge.
That's within 6 minutes he's done that. That's pretty darn impressive.
Now we're looking at one of our cars. This will be Chinchik following Rocek behind Paul August Lana. Try and get one final position before they cross the line. Nico Barkley should be coming up to the start-finish very, very soon.
You know, I think that manoeuvre that Rocek did, catching Chinchik completely napping there, we'll see in the next 30 seconds. I don't expect Chinchik to go for this. Not on the probation period that he's on. I think he's going to play this as safe as he can, just end up sucking it up and taking 5th. I think he's actually lost out on the podium here. This is. You think there's going to be one more lap? Where's Barkley? No way.
Barkley's crossed the line at this point.
It's 2 minutes a lap. Has he just gone over the line?
It's gone over the line.
Oh, he has. Yes, he has. Has to have. Okay. All right, fine. Let's go for it. These guys are 20 seconds back. So, yes, they are going to have another lap. Oh, road check. That's just a little squirrely. Had to back down a little bit there. That might buy time, but I'll be very surprised if he gets past Paul August Lana again, unless Lana makes a mistake of his own based on the distance, actually. Really, the position. I mean, I guess, if anything, maybe in Brooklands.
Yeah.
Let's see how close he keeps it on down there at Wellington. Not really. I don't expect Chinchik to go for it. I'm just saying, I'm throwing it out there. With the position he's in, I think he's just going to play it as safe as he can. Further down, Cito Vaya back up into 9th position. So good stuff from him to make a recovery there. Obviously, after his spin earlier on, was running in 3rd. Hello, who's just outbraked themselves ahead of them? That is Yuri Toman getting past Kapamajian up into 6th place. So that worked out for him. It also put Martono and Cito Vaya into a tricky situation here in the final lap.
Yeah, the time limit has expired. Barkley, by reckoning, should be on the hanger straight or just entering the hanger straight at this point. There goes Matt Richards. There we go. Called it. So this is the final few corners of the season. Nico Barkley starting in the back, remember, in the first race, and now wins the final race of the season. Well, assuming he keeps it on the track, obviously. As David Mrocek, Paul Augustlana, and Marcel Chinchik running nose to tail and on board with Cito Vaya, probably ruining that spin that he had at Stowe. See what that does for the final standings.
Congratulations, though, to Nico Barkley as he crosses the line and takes himself what is a fantastic win. His first win of the season. He's had some unfortunate incidents. Ooh, Rocek just getting a little biff on the curb there. So does Chinchik, taking a big slice of it. The Varga Sim Racing drivers will be 5th and 6th in the end. Rocek in the end also just giving it a little bit of beans as they go down the Hamilton. In the end, though, Kapamajian will go over the line in 7th. Martono in 8th. Cito Vaya in 9th. And Martin Dillon does manage to hang on to that 10th place. Diogo Silva in the end picking up 11th. And Christian Michael is going to be ruining his chances down in 12th position. Jakovic, what a great recovery from him. He was sent off the track on the first corner. Ends up in 14th place. So fantastic performance from him. As Thomas Vack on your screens here, also in 15th position. So great driving overall. In terms of points, well, we should have some very interesting results obviously coming out of this one. It is donuts. The taco sensation donut machine, Nico Barkley, with his first win of the season in the Audi. Congratulations to him. Great performance. Led from start to finish in the main race. Wasn't really challenged as the train behind him kept on running as Paul Augustlana, we should mention, by the way, podium position finish in the end. What a great defensive performance from him.
Very good, considering that he was losing all that time to Barkley and having to keep both Richards and Cito Vaya behind him. Cito had that spin, but still Vaya finishes in the top 10. Matt Richards gets eventually up there into 2nd place, and that should be the crown secured. So Zancho winning, Zancho winning Pro and Challenge. I don't think that's been done before.
Yeah, and Matt Richards obviously, almost getting the back-to-back sprint and main race win as well, which is impressive for him. Obviously starting out on 10th on the main race, gets himself up into that 2nd position. So congratulations, Matt Richards. A well-deserved championship winner there of the GG Challenge. As for the top 10, well, we'll wait and see how the points all get totted up. Of course, there's penalties to be applied as well, so keep your eyes on that. That will be over on the Studio397.com website. You can just click on the GT Series at the top to see exactly who will be the runners and riders effectively. Top 5, as we mentioned, will go automatically up to the GT Pro. 6th to 10th, they will be going into that promotion relegation battle with the 5 drivers from the GT Pro, and that's going to be an absolute belter, no doubt about it. In the past, it is generally over 3 tracks. We'll see how it is yet. I don't think anything's been decided or certainly publicly announced. Previously, we've had obviously the shorter circuit of Silverstone, Nürburgring, I think, was in there. We definitely had the shorter circuit of Sebring as well. So we'll see exactly what track will be used, but it'll be over those 3 tracks with the 10 cars. I think Pev won last year, if I'm not mistaken, and then obviously went on to put in a great performance in GT Pro. So that is what's all going to be happening over, I'm not too sure if that's next Monday or 2 weeks Monday. Not exactly sure. It will be other tracks indeed. Okay, so we're going to have other tracks. Good to see. That's what I was saying. I mean, like I was saying, in previous years we've had those tracks. Don't know what track we're going to be using this time because, you know, we've got Portland out there. We've had Indianapolis this season as well. So we've had a couple of new runners. But overall, they are your winners that have happened over the season. Sprint race winners, President Martino Chinchik with a double back-to-back. Toman and now Matt Richards with a back-to-back win on the sprint races as well. Over in the main races, Yuri Toman, Kapamagian, Matt Richards with a back-to-back through Nürburgring and Sebring, and Remco Major in Indianapolis. And of course, now we have Nico Barkley as the main race winner here at Silverstone in the wet. So congratulations to all those drivers. It has been a pretty darn impressive season, Aidan.
Yeah, it has. We've had, we had President Martino, Yuri Toman winning the races in the first one, and then Varga sort of went on a sprint race domination run, and then Matt Richards sort of came back, and then Remco Major, great to see him having come up from Split 2. He joins Mike Epps as only one of 2 winners to come up into Challenge Split 1 and win a race. So that's going to be good for him. If he doesn't make it into Pro, he's definitely in good stead for Season 4.
So fantastic stuff. Keep your eyes peeled on the calendar. I believe it's in 2 weeks. That's what I believe. But don't hold me to that if I got it wrong. That'll be when the next promotion relegation will happen. We'll see when the GT Pro, the 5 drivers will be happening. 21st of June. There we go. Bam. Aidan Millward has put his career on the line for that one.
No, it says so at the bottom of the thing.
Does it say? Oh, it does say it there. Okay. See, your career was on the line. Okay. We did say, I mean, in fairness, Ruben did say it at the start. It's on there somewhere in one of the graphics, but we can't remember which one it was. Now I see it. Okay. I wasn't looking at that screen. I was looking at all the spam in the Discord of what tracks, everybody guessing at what track it could be. Thanks for watching, guys. It has been a great season. I wish you all the best. I wish the racers all the best in the relegation battle. We'll see you next time here at rFactor 2 Live.